I want to talk a little bit about black operatives in the Democratic Party and how I'm going to just make a point here, an argument to say that this is more of a liability than an asset. The only thing worse than having a pure enemy is to have a friend who actually is an enemy or an enemy that is disguised as a friend. And I'm going to break this down for you by telling you about another example where our so-called allies came along and actually created concentration camps that held black people in Natchez, Mississippi. So I'm going to talk about that and connect that to what I'm sort of seeing today. So get comfortable, buckle up your seatbelt. We're going to get started on drboycetv.com right now.
Here we are, clan the isms, cataclysm, great. Our people out here struggling, trying to make it in this state. Everybody out here doing it, but we the ones too late. Now family, we the ones who gotta delegate. Get that money in the power, never be fake. Stick to co-sign for 3. What did he say? Create jobs, support our own. Educate the same and buy back your home. Got 3 degrees, triple 10. 3 PhDs, now we on the CNN. DBTV, let's talk about negligence. Ignorance is bliss, but we can turn it to intelligence. Believe none of what you hear, half of what you see. Let's break it down here on Dr. Boyce TV. Here we are.
Hey, what's going on, black people? What's happening? I hope you guys are having a wonderful day. My name is Dr. Boyce Watkins, and welcome to drboycetv.com, the home for intelligent black people. Shout out the city that you're from. Let me know what city you're from. Also, put your B1 in the chat on this platform. This is where we invite intelligent black people who want to be free. We talk to intelligent black people who want to do better. We talk to black people who may not be intelligent yet, but they actually want to be smarter about how this world works. If you're in that category, then put a B1 in the chat. Black first. Black first means that I don't care if you're Democrat or Republican, as long as you're black first. I don't care if you're gay or straight, as long as you're black first. I don't care if you're male or female, as long as you're black first. I don't care if you're rich or poor, as long as you're black first. I don't care if you went to college or not, as long as you're black first. That's what the B1 philosophy is all about, and that's what we believe in here. So I see some cities. I see Florida, Clarksburg, West Virginia. I see Austin, Texas, Chicago, Illinois, Tulsa, Oklahoma. Let's see Mount Pleasant, South Carolina, Washington, D.C., Memphis, Temple, Oakland. What's up, Cornell? Carnell says, what's up, PhD boys from Oakland? How you doing, Carnell? Good to see you. All right, so let's get started. Hit the thumbs up button, thumbs up. Hit the notification bell also after you subscribe to make sure you're notified when we go live, because you guys know how it is. When you get extra black, you get shadow banned and all that good stuff, but I don't mind that. I have different ways to get in touch with you guys. So let me hop into this conversation. I wanted to talk a little bit about something that was on my brain today, and I was thinking about black politics. And I was thinking about why black people have not made progress, economically speaking, specifically in the last 50 years. Like, we haven't made any progress. All this marching, all this praying, and all this voting. No voting, no vucking, right? We out here voting more than anybody. We out here marching more than anybody. We complaining and praying more than anybody, but you're not making progress. Give me a yes or no if you agree with me that when it comes to economics, black people have not made any progress in the last 40 or 50 years in terms of wealth, ownership, and control of assets. Give me a yes in the chat if you agree with that statement, that we have made little to no progress since that time. In fact, there are studies that show that black wealth, despite all the marching, praying, and voting that you've been doing, your wealth is going kaboom. By 2053, median black wealth is expected to be 0, and it is going to be 0 for the Negroes. I'm telling you, the black folks that don't listen, the black folks that are still stuck on this nonsense, the black folks who are falling for the okie doke, you either gonna have to push them off the boat, or they're gonna jump off the boat on their own, because they out here trying to chase down fairy tales that do not exist. They're chasing waterfalls. So give me a yes or no if you agree with me that in terms of education, black people have not improved in the last 40 years. That our condition has not improved. Give me a yes or no in the chat if you agree with that statement. Give me a yes or no in the chat if you agree that in the last 40, 50 years, since integration, since white folks came along and your liberal allies came along to help you, that black families are in a worse state than they were 40 or 50 years ago. Give me a yes or no in the chat if you agree with that statement. Now, you might say, Boyce, why are you asking these basic, simple questions? Why would any intelligent Black person kind of already understands this? Well, before I have conversations with you guys, I like to lay a context so you can understand why I am challenging you to challenge everything. I'm asking you to question everything. My question to you is, are you willing to challenge some of the fundamental assumptions that your parents gave you when you were a child in order to achieve progress? Do you agree with me? Can you at least hear me when I tell you that if you try to do the same thing, if you try the same method over and over again, you're gonna keep getting a very similar result? Can you give me a yes to let me know you can hear this? Because everybody ain't gonna agree, but I gotta lay this out here. And so I was asked recently about a guy named Roland Martin. And Roland and I have known each other a long time. I met Roland in 2006. I didn't like him that much in 2006 because he talked too much and he thought too highly of himself. I met him on the set of CNN. And that same day, Wendy Williams was on the show with us. And we were talking about something. I forgot what it was. And I remember I was with my friend Dorian, and I diverted the conversation to Dorian because Roland was just talking my ear off, talk. And I was like, man, this guy does not shut up. He really likes to hear himself talk. So I'm an introvert. I don't like all that yippity yapping, right? So I kind of turned and pushed the conversation to Dorian. And I remember just thinking, gosh, this guy is he's kind of irritating, kind of thinks a lot of himself. He's kind of, and I guess people like that. I guess people like it when you're just sort of this arrogant little diva where you just kind of feel like you want to be the center of attention of everything, right? So this guy, I've known him for years, and I think he got mad at me because I wrote an article where I told him that something he said was wrong, and he's been mad ever since, right? He's been mad. I think he sent me a long bitchy text message in 2011 that literally was like a whole dissertation. And I remember just thinking, like, how does a man's thumbs type that many words in a text message? Like, that's very strange. Like, teenage girls can do that. I would just type yes or no responses. His statements were like this, right? So Roland and I can't say we're the best of friends, but at the same time, I can acknowledge his work, his hard work. I can acknowledge that he has done a good job of really developing out his platform in a very impressive way to a point. What I would challenge, though, here's what I want to draw the question mark, though. When you have people like that, because you got a lot of them, you got the Roland Martins, you got the Al Sharptons, these other individuals that do a lot of work. The question I would ask them is, who are you working for? Who are you working for? Right? And the problem that we have as Black people is that we're not really trained to work for other Black people. We're not trained to work for ourselves. We're trained to serve other people. So I spent a lot of time around Roland, spent a lot of time around Sharpton, spent a lot of time around people connected with Obama and everything else. And one of the things I noticed, and this is one of the reasons why I always start every conversation by reminding you that we're Black first, is that I learned a long time ago that there's a very big difference between serving the Black community and selling the Black community. And let me tell you the conversation I had with someone in the White House, in the Obama White House, that really helped me see this distinction. It was about 2009, and everybody was excited that Barack was president, including myself. I was very excited. I had high hopes. I really thought great things were going to happen, and some good things did happen. I think he carried himself far better than Trump, than Biden, all these people. I think he's a very classy guy in that regard. But the problem is not so much who he is, and it's more so who does he work for, right? I did not get the sense that he worked for Black people. So I got a call from a guy in the Obama administration. True story. And I'm thinking, okay, this is great. So he wants to know this guy. I don't know who he was. I guess he was like the senior executive of Negroes or something. I have no idea. And he was calling me, and he was like talking to me about stuff. And I'm thinking, oh, this is going to be great. I can tell him what the people are saying. I can tell him what Black people need from their president that they put into office. Black folks showed up and showed out, voted. We went to vote after church. We did our thing. We put them in the White House. Now, when did we get the reward? Well, that wasn't the conversation he was trying to have with me. His conversation was not, what does the Black community need from their president? That was not the discussion. The discussion was that this is what the president needs from the Black community. Now, give me a yes if you understand where I'm going with this and what I'm trying to say. It wasn't like the energy was flowing from the Black community toward the White House. The energy and obligation was flowing from the White House to the Black community. And I said, but wait a minute. They're not working for you. You're supposed to be working for them. That's like somebody, that's like you going to work. You done went to work. You done put 40 hours in on the job. And then your boss says, okay, when do I get my paycheck? Right? How many of y'all would do that? Give me a yes or no if you follow the analogy. Give me a yes or no if you follow what I'm saying. Imagine if you went to work and you busted your ass. You went hard. You worked 50 hours when you put in overtime. And imagine if at the end of the week, the boss says, now it's time for you to give me my paycheck. That's what it feels like to be Black and to vote. That's what it feels like when you vote. I'm not saying don't vote. Just so y'all know, in case you don't know, we have a free speech platform. I support and respect any decision you make. All I'm asking you to do is love yourself enough to do what's best for you. All I'm asking you to do is, like, if you vote for somebody, just be able to tell me why this person is going to improve your life. Not why this person is why the Republicans are bad. I don't want to hear that shit. I know the Republicans are bad. Don't tell me why the world's going to come to an end if Trump gets in office. Man, the world ain't came to an end. Stop that. Stop being dramatic. You're being a damn drama queen right now. Just tell me why voting for this person is going to benefit you and your children. Why is that an important fundamental question? Well, because you, for hundreds of years, have been trained to put everybody else before yourself. So when I come in here and I say every time, we're Black first, we're Black first, we're Black first, the reason I got to repeat that 18,000 times is because you have never lived in a world where your values, your feelings, your needs are ranked number one. And the reason I know you've never lived in that world is because if you go look at your damn communities, they done fell apart. The reason I know that you ain't never put yourself first is because many of y'all could have built multi-million-dollar family businesses, but every child went to go work for a white man. The reason I know you never put yourself first is because when I go to HBCUs, the best Black athletes are at the white universities and not the Black ones. Give me an amen in the chat if you get what I'm saying. Give me a yes, an amen. Give me something to let me know you know what I'm talking about here. I'm not asking you if you agree with me. I'm asking you, do you even understand what I'm talking about? You ain't got to agree, but tell me where I'm wrong. So the basic idea of saying, we're Black first, that's not hating white people. It's not me telling you can't vote. It's not me telling you that you shouldn't go and get whatever job you want. It's me saying, just put yourself first and stop serving other people, man. It makes me vomit around every election when I see certain people, and this is where we can bring a Roland Martin into the conversation. It makes me puke when I see Black people pressuring other Black people to vote for absolutely nothing. They give you a long list of agenda items that they claim that Biden is doing for you. Remember, Biden incarcerated more Black men than anybody in the history of this country. Adolf Hitler did not do the damage to Jews that Biden did to Black people. And you telling me that's my hero, that's my savior, that's the best we got? Are you out of your freaking mind? Or am I the only Black person born on the wrong planet? You sound dumb right now. This sounds insane. This don't even make no sense. I'm not saying that you're stupid if you go vote. I get it. Lesser of two evils. The Republicans are terrible. We got to get Trump out of. I hear all that. Okay, fine. Run with that if that makes you feel better. But just like I know, that that's a bunch of crap. And the reason that you've been trained to accept crappy explanations is because you've never ever seen what it looks like to have real power. You've never seen what it looks like to be able to put your needs at the top of the priority list instead of at the bottom. You've never been in a world where you choose what you want instead of settling for the best that you can get. Do you get what I am saying? Do you hear what I'm saying? Give me a yes or no if you get what I'm saying. So look, if me talking about Black people, us loving ourselves is somehow offensive to some people, well, all I can do is give you both middle fingers and tell you to get the hell up out of my face. Everybody else can put themselves first. I see Jewish people putting themselves first. They will come out and they will tell you that some shit is anti-Semitic when you be like, well, what does me talking about a Snickers bar have to do with me being anti-Semitic? They're like, well, you're just anti-Semitic because we said so, because we put ourselves first. Tell me if you know what I'm talking about. Seriously, like they will literally, anything you say, if you say, well, you know, Israel has a really tough policy on the Palestinians. They really need to stop killing Palestinians for no reason. They're like, oh, you're anti-Semitic, sir. You're anti-Semitic. And you're like, well, what did I say that was anti-Semitic? It doesn't matter. You're still anti-Semitic. Why? Well, because we said so. Because they put themselves first. Yeah, we don't know nothing about that kind of conversation. We don't know that. That's power talk. That's what power talk does. Power talk is a whole different language. I don't know if we've ever learned to speak that language. I'm going to just tell you the truth. I think we have to learn how to speak that language. I'm going to move forward. Before I do that, please do me a favor. Hit the thumbs up button. Thumbs up, share, subscribe if you haven't done it yet. Also, if you want to learn how to invest in Wealth is Power, I have a free training at firstshareofstock.com. Do not be afraid of the stock market. Again, you're making power moves for your life. You're making independent moves for your life. Get your family, whoever you love, get them to go to this website, firstshareofstock.com. There's a free training where you can learn how to buy stock. It is easy to do. This is the power play. This is why B1 people are going to be wealthier than the Jews in one generation. I guarantee it. We will be ahead of most white people in a generation. Black people won't be ahead because the majority of black people probably don't even listen to me. If I was a regular black person, if I was trained in a certain way, I wouldn't even listen to me. I wouldn't have listened to me 20 years ago. Fine. They don't have to listen. You're listening because you're here. Firstsharestock.com. The training is free. You can learn how to buy your first share of stock in 10 minutes. I promise you. So anyway, let me keep going here. So one of the things I want to kind of jump into is when you're talking about some of the so-called black leaders that we have, and these aren't really leaders. These are more like public figures. You're not a leader just because white people put you on TV. You're not a leader just because you're connected to important white folks. That doesn't make you a leader. That just means you are visible. That means you are public, and that is fine. One of the things that's very important to understand is that there's a very big difference between serving black people and selling black people. Okay. So you have these intermediaries, and this goes back to that conversation I had with the people in the Obama administration. I blew the conversation up real quick. I said, man, you're full of crap. Don't waste my time. I ain't got time to talk to you right now. Because when I got on the phone with this guy, I remember I thought we were having one conversation where I was bringing ideas from you guys and saying, yeah, I'm talking to people online. This is what they're saying. This is what they want. And then he's coming to me with a different conversation, which is, well, the president wants black people to do this and he wants you to do X, Y, Z. I don't like conversations like that because it makes me feel like I'm being used. To be honest, Kanye West tried to get me to get black people to boycott Adidas. I said, why would they boycott Adidas for you? You wore a White Lives Matter shirt. You spent $2 million on your daughter's birthday party. You're not writing big checks for the black community. Write a check for the black community and build some powernomics centers so the black kids can be trained on economics, and then I'll see what I can do. This is a real life, honest to God depiction of some of these weird conversations I end up having with people who somehow expect black people are going to come to their rescue when they're having problems or having trouble, but they don't feel compelled to come to the rescue of the black community. This happens with your celebrities. This happens with a lot of your rappers. This happens with a lot of your intermediaries. They understand that influence in the black community can be sold to an overseer, whether it is a corporation. That's what BET does. They influence black people. They tell you this is for the culture. This is the culture. And then they sell it all to Viacom. Viacom shareholders make money. You have intermediaries like the Roland Martins and the Al Sharptons who come in and they go sit down with the Bidens and makes them feel high, mighty, and important because Kamala Harris hits them up on the cell phone. Y'all know as well as I do, Kamala Harris don't give a damn about your black ass. Come on now. Seriously. Kamala ain't really sitting around thinking about how she can make the black community better. I get it. She's trying to keep her job. Just like if you were working at Taco Bell. You'd be putting on your Taco Bell uniform, trying to figure out how to make tacos faster so that you can get in good with the manager at Taco Bell. When your cousin comes into Taco Bell, you're not really thinking about how you can feed your cousin, especially if you know that feeding your cousin will get you fired, right? Now, you might try to get your cousin to buy more tacos because then you get to tell your boss, look at how many tacos I sold today, right? That's what. So if your cousin's got money then it's cool. Your cousin gives you money, you give your cousin tacos, and then you get to tell your boss, look at how many tacos I sold. But what if your cousin shows up and your cousin ain't got a nickel in his pocket? Well, then at that point, if your boss says, well, if I catch you giving free tacos to anybody, you're fired. Pay attention now. Give me a yes if you follow this analogy. I hope you understand this analogy, because this is what a lot of your black leaders are. They're nothing more than Taco Bell employees. That's what they are. They work. They're Taco Bell employees, and you're coming in the restaurant. So pay attention now. What if the boss says, if I catch you giving away free tacos or cheeseburgers, you're gonna get fired? These are the people who will just let your black ass starve. They'll just let you sit there and be hungry. They'll be like, cuz I know you're hungry, cuz, but I can't really do nothing for you. Now you got some money, then we can make it work. Well, politics is the same way. Instead of handing out free tacos, they're handing out various political favors. They're handing out infrastructure contracts. They're handing out all kinds of big government contracts, right? And black folks, see, the problem is that you don't have the wealth, because white people stole all your money. You don't have the wealth to really compete in big level politics. It's hard to do. Raphael Warnock, when he ran for office, you think black people had $100 million to give him to run for Senate? No. Herschel Walker, you think black people had $100 million to give Herschel Walker to run for Senate? No. Seriously, I'm doing my Scooby-Doo. No. No. Okay, like seriously, do you really think? So do you really think? I'm serious. See, there's some people who live on level one who got into the whole back and forth. Well, I like Warnock. I think Warnock's better because Herschel Walker is dummy. He's dumb. He can't even pronounce his words. You're right. Herschel Walker is probably got CTE, and he's probably one of the dumbest Negroes ever in the history of the state of Georgia, right? But then you got the other ones that are like, oh, Warnock, he's a sellout. He's just working for the Democrats, and they trying to push their agenda, blah, blah, blah. And that's why, yeah, okay, you're right. Yeah, Warnock is a Democrat first. That's what he is. He's a Taco Bell employee. He's wearing his Democrat, instead of wearing a Taco Bell uniform, it's a Democratic Party uniform. That's who he works for sure. So there are people who are having the level one conversation. And honestly, I can't really get into those conversations. There are people who got into the Warnock versus Walker conversation. I didn't participate in any of that. You know what I was looking at? There are people that can go to that higher level who go into the conversation realizing that neither Warnock nor Herschel is there for you. Neither one of those people. Seriously, which person, Warnock, Walker, or neither, is really going to come through with the $14 trillion reparations bill that reflects money that black people are clearly owed, that is clearly documented in the public record? Which one? Herschel? It's going to be Walker, Warnock, neither or both? Answer in the chat. Warnock, either, or Walker, Warnock, either or both. Which one's going to come through with that $14 trillion reparations bill? Y'all tell me. Answer the question in the chat, damn it. Please answer this question. I need y'all we need to acknowledge what's being stated right now, what we're talking about right now. Which one of these guys? And if you put Walker or Warnock's name in the chat, I'm going to have to send you back for re-education because you're clearly a little bit naive. I'm not going to call you stupid. I'm not going to be mean to you. I'm just going to say you're probably a little naive. Maybe when I was 20 years old, I might have gave an answer to. But at the end of the day, neither one of those people work for the black community. They are black faces in white spaces. They're not even black faces in high places, because I don't think being around white people puts you on a higher plane. It doesn't. You think it does because you don't see your worth. You don't see your value. So you think that you look at Deion Sanders going to Colorado and you say, well, that's an upgrade. In what world is going to pasty ass Colorado with inferior athletes where they've had 2 winning seasons in 20 years? Since when was that an upgrade? I get it. I understand. I'm not knocking whether Deion should have won or not. We already had that debate. That was a debate. But seriously, the only thing that makes Colorado an upgrade is the money. That's it. That's literally it. You take away the money, there's nothing about that job that is an upgrade. Nothing. It's a harder job because you're playing against tougher teams. You got weaker athletes. You don't get you don't have the HBCU energy anymore, right? So he went into a worse place for more money. I understand that. I respect that. But at the end of the day, stop calling that a level up. Stop that, because whenever you implicitly state that being around white folks is a level up, you are also implicitly stating that being around black people is a level down. That's what you're doing. So stop saying that he rose up or he had to go to the next level. No, just say he went to Colorado. Cool. My daughter lives in Colorado. Nothing wrong with Colorado. But stop saying that he stepped up or he leveled up. No. Everything's in the eye of the beholder. That's like saying that when you went from the dark-skinned black woman to the light-skinned woman, man, you leveled up. You leveled up. No, you didn't. You just had a preference. You chose a light-skinned girl. Light-skinned women can be beautiful. My wife is light-skinned, but that is not a level up from a black-skinned woman. There's beautiful dark-skinned women. So stop it. Stop it. Where am I going with this? Well, I think at the end of the day, I think that we get our priorities a little bit backward. You know, values are everything. The things that you value really shape how you go about navigating the world. And the problem that you have in a white supremacist society is that we put this sort of high value sticker label on whiteness. Whiteness is like Louis and Gucci. Blackness is like Walmart and Dollar General. So you got two products that are absolutely identical, but because one is Louis Gucci white, you'll think it's more valuable. You'll pay $800 for that instead of the Walmart Dollar General black. Where am I going with this? All right, so here's the deal. When you're talking about politics in America, one of the things that really frustrates me is that you have a lot of people that on the surface, I think that they really believe that they're being pro-black. And the reason that they believe that they're being pro-black is because they are getting black people access to what they perceive to be important white people, right? And I understand this world very well because I remember, how many of you have ever been in a situation where where your relatives felt like they were really helping you by helping you get a job down at the post office or getting a job working with them at the Cheesecake Factory, or maybe they got you on at the same law firm, right? How many of you really have some pro-black people that were like, you know, cuz I'm really going to help you cuz I want to help you. I'm going to help you get into this white school. I'm going to help you get into this white university. I'm going to help you get into this white corporation, right? And they really feel like they're helping you because they believe that that is better, right? So in politics, it's the same way. There are people who define themselves as pro-black because they're black faces that are advocating for a specific political party, and they're trying to get you to co-sign on that political party. That is a problem. So the Roland Martins are just as bad as the Candace Owenses. They're exactly the same. And what they will do is they will hijack pro-black rhetoric when they don't even truly understand what pro-black really is, in my view. I believe pro-blackness is a form of independence. I believe pro-blackness is when you are able to strip these labels from political parties or whomever and simply do what is best for you. I believe pro-blackness means that you put your family first, you put your community first, and anybody who is not serving your community in an appropriate way is going to get moved down the hierarchy. That's my definition of pro-blackness. Pro-blackness is not Candace Owens convincing 10 million black people to become Republicans. Candace, stop that. Stop that. You have zero credibility in anything that you say. You could say the most brilliant shit ever. Candace will say stuff that sounds like it came right out of the mouth of Louis Farrakhan or Malcolm X. But the problem is that what you've effectively done is you've hijacked pro-black language to simply get more black people to sign up for the Republican Party. That is a problem. And the same thing is at the same time, you just like you have Fox and MSNBC, you also have the Candace Owens, and they're correlated with the Roland Martins, who will come in and I'm black, y'all, bliggity black, y'all, blah, blah, blah. And then every election, that's when it's time to pay the piper. Every election, that is when you have black people that will pressure you to vote for the same political party that you voted for in the last election that you know as well as I do didn't do a damn thing for black people. And the only thing that they do, because they've tricked you into believing that you only have two options, the only thing that they can do, they can never go down the track record of things that they've done specifically for black people because they know that they don't do things specifically for black people. They don't. So what they do is they do the Burger King McDonald's challenge. They say, well, you say, well, I don't want to eat at Burger King. That food's got cholesterol. That meat is greasy. I don't want to eat those French fries. They're going to make me sick. It's got carcinogens. It's going to give me cancer. And then they say, well, it's better than McDonald's. McDonald's, look at how bad McDonald's is. McDonald's, look at what they got at McDonald's burger. And what I don't understand is that when you get into these McDonald's, Burger King, Coke, Pepsi conversations. What the hell? Why is it so radical to say maybe you don't need to eat at both of those damn places? Maybe they're just both serving you two different kinds of cancer. Maybe you don't have to choose between KFC and Popeyes. Who the hell? Give me a yes. Please tell me you understand what I'm saying. Please tell me you understand that when somebody says choose option A or option B, that you understand that you do have an option C, D, E, F, G. They've just convinced you. They've gotten you to operate on a lower vibrational frequency, a frequency of fear and ignorance, to the point where they've convinced you, the greatest people on the planet, the people who overcame the Middle Passage, overcame slavery, overcame all this stuff to get here. You survived damn near everything, but somehow they convince you that you can't survive another Republican being in office. Man, get out of here with that nonsense. Don't disempower me that way. You're not taking away my rights to be a man. You're not taking away my right to be free. You're not taking away my right to be a free thinker. I'm going to go. My brain's going to take me wherever it's supposed to go, because I got a big ass brain, and my brain can go outside this damn galaxy. It can go outside this universe if I wanted to. And you're not going to constrain me to whatever little tiny town you're choosing to live in, because your little town that you're living in is messing your life up. It's making you feel like a slave. It's making you feel broken. You've been tricked into believing that you have no options because somebody lowered your self-esteem. You're like that person who's in a bad relationship, getting beat up every day, getting mistreated, cheated on, and disrespected, and you won't leave because you're too scared to go out on your own. Somebody lied and told you that if I don't want you, then nobody will. If you don't vote for me, then you ain't black. And you bought that nonsense. I will never buy that in a million years. So understand that there is a difference between doing something because you want to do it versus doing something because you feel like you have to do it. Choice. That is the cousin of freedom. Choice. White women know about choice. White women talk about being pro-choice all the time. They tell you all day what their choices are. I got the choice to do this. I got the right to make you to consent or not consent. I got the right to do this, right to do that. And black folks, we love to tell each other that we have no choice. Well, if you don't do it, then you gonna die. Bad things is gonna happen to you. They gonna come get you, sir. They gonna implement. They gonna bring racism back, y'all. You best no vote, no bucking, y'all. I can't do slave talk. I can't. I'm not interested in that. I only know how to talk like a free man. So let me just read something to you that I found. How many of you, first of all, if you could, please hit the thumbs up button. Thumbs up, share, subscribe. We're trying to build independent, intelligent black media here. We could really use your support. If you could hit the thumbs up button and subscribe and hit the notification bell. The things I talk about don't make me popular in some circles. So your support really means a lot to me, and I will never, ever take it for granted. So if you could do that for me, I'd appreciate it. My website is boycewatkins.com. You can go there. There's lots of free stuff, free trainings on finance and stuff like that. My PhD is in finance. I understand black wealth extremely well. I would love to teach you and your family and share everything I know, because one day we're going to get old and we're going to die. And I want to make sure I leave a legacy that impacts you forever. You don't even have to give me credit for it. You can take my ideas and go act like they're your own. I'm totally okay with that. I just want to make sure you get access to the ideas that you need. So feel free to go to my website, boycewatkins.com. Let me read something to you. How many of y'all knew? Give me a yes or no. How many of you knew that there's a lot of talk about Jewish people and their concentration camps, right? How many of y'all know that there were concentration camps for black people in the United States? Give me a yes or no. I'm not talking about just the prison. The prisons are a concentration camp. We know that. The slavery was similar to a concentration camp, probably worse. But how many of y'all know that after the Civil War, there were concentration camps created in Natchez, Mississippi? Give me a yes or no in the chat if you've heard this. And I'm going to tell you this story, and I'm going to make a point when I read the story to you. Give me a yes or no. Okay. Some of you know, some of you don't. All right. So let me read this to you. And the reason I want to read this is because I want you to understand why it's hard to convince me that as black people that we truly have these so-called allies, right? I'm real skeptical of the so-called allies, especially when they put themselves at the front of the bus. They tell you that, they want to let you on the bus, but they still put you at the back of the bus. They sit at the front of the bus, they drive the bus, and they own the damn bus. I don't want to do any of that. I want to own it. I want to drive it, and I want to sit at the front of it. I'm not sitting at the back of your bus. So let me read this to you, and I'm going to make a point with this. This is about the Devil's Punch Bowl. And they said the Devil's Punch Bowl episode is remembered on this date, 1865. This post-American Civil War atrocity in Black history occurred in Natchez, Mississippi. As Black slaves made their way to freedom, the town of Natchez quickly went from a population of 10,000 to nearly 100,000 people. So all these freed slaves were going north. So Natchez, Mississippi eventually had a massive population of 100,000 people. To deal with the population influx of recent freedmen, these are free slaves now, a concentration camp was established by Union soldiers to eradicate the slaves, essentially. So this concentration camp was not for slave Black, it was for free Black people. So allegedly free Black people were put in a concentration camp. And did y'all hear what I said when I said who created this camp? It wasn't the Confederate soldiers from the South. I'm not saying the Confederates were good guys. I'm not saying that at all. But it wasn't the Confederates who put this concentration camp together. It was the Union soldiers. I mean, talk about friends that make you not need enemies. With friends like that, you don't need enemies. These are your saviors. These are your liberal allies. These are the people that are supposed to come help you. These are the people that are supposed to make your life better. They created the damn concentration camp. That blew my mind. Let me keep reading here. Let me tell you what happened in the Devil's Punch Bowl, where your liberal allies created a camp to hold you and to control you. So Don Estes, a former director of the Natchez City Cemetery, said, quote, so they decided to build an encampment for them at the Devil's Punch Bowl, which they walled off and would not let them out. Why is this a powerful analogy? So you have allegedly free Black people who aren't really free, apparently, who then greet their liberal allies, who then create a concentration camp and wall it off so they can't go anywhere. Well, that's how I feel at every election. I feel intellectually they wall you off, they block off information, they block off ideas, they block off possibilities so that you are forced to do what they want you to do. Then they tell you dumb stuff like, well, you don't vote for me, then you ain't Black. How many times do I need to slap you before I make my point to let you know that ain't, we don't roll like that, partner. You're never going to take away my Blackness from me. You can't. You know, so ultimately, this is a powerful analogy. These are your friends. They walled off the space so the Black people couldn't get out. And part of it was also because they were like, man, we don't want to deal with all these Negroes. You know, we and they were kind of bitter, right? Their connection to their Southern brethren was stronger than their connection to you. And it goes back to what Dr. Claude Anderson always said, is that Black people really don't have any friends in America. You really don't have any true allies. You will never have an ally that will put your interests ahead of their own. You just won't have that. You can't have. That's not going to happen. You have to have power in order to achieve that. And power sometimes is lacking because you have to have a certain mindset to have power. So let me keep reading. They said the camp was called the Devil's Punch Bowl because of how the area was shaped. The camp was at the bottom of a cavernous pit with trees on the bluffs above. The women and children were locked behind the concrete walls of the camp and left to die from starvation. So they locked the women and children behind the walls of the camp, let them die from starvation. Many also died from smallpox disease. Over 20,000 freed slaves were killed inside this American concentration camp in just 1 year. Black men were recaptured by the Union troops and forced back into hard labor. Researcher Paula Westbrook adds, quote, the Union Army, these are your allies, your liberal allies, the Union Army did not allow them to remove the bodies from the camp. They just gave them shovels and said, bury them where they drop. This is how much love they have for you. This is how your allies feel about you. Now, of course, they wouldn't do something like that today. Exactly. At least I hope not. But these are the descendants of these people. This is why I can't, when you come to me as a Black man and you're trying to sell some sort of partnership you made with a so-called liberal ally, I look at you like you're weird and you're crazy. I'm not saying that all white people are bad. I'm not saying that I hate anybody. I don't hate nobody. But it's kind of hard to trust anybody when this is what your friends, your ancestors, they're speaking to you from the grave. This is what they're telling you. This is what our friends did to us. Malcolm X used to warn you about white liberals. Does anybody remember that when Malcolm X was basically saying that the white liberal can be as dangerous as the conservative? Do y'all remember that? Malcolm X said this. So the ancestors have already spoken to us. They've already told us what to do. And what I'm really saying, because we're all going to be ancestors one day, is I'm trying to say, trust yourself. Trust each other. Trust the people that really have the same interest as you. If you have one objective and I have another objective, how the hell am I going to think that you're going to pursue my agenda before you pursue your own agenda? See, white liberals, they already have their own agenda. Excuse me. They already have their own value systems. It relates to LGBT this and feminism that and whatever else they believe in, right? They have immigration. They have their own immigrant. They've already got their own agenda. And it's not so much that they are determined to necessarily hate you. I'm not saying that they're all hateful, terrible people. What I'm saying is that how the hell you think they're going to put your agenda in front of their agenda? How the hell you even think that after they go through all the items on their agenda, that they're even going to have room to address your agenda? The bus only has so much gas in it. So they're saying, look, we'll let you on the bus, but you got to sit in the back. We're going to choose where the bus is going to drive, and we own this bus. And by the time they get around to driving to where you want to go, the bus has run out of gas. All the political capital is spent before they can even get to the black agenda. That's why every time any politician gets elected at the highest levels, there is no black agenda. And if they get to it, most of the time, the black agenda is nothing but a white agenda with black people attached. It's like, well, we did a lot for black people. What'd you do? Well, we helped them secure their right to vote. Why? Oh, well, because we're going to vote and we're going to keep you in power. So, of course, you're going to secure our right to vote because you know that we're going to vote for you. If you knew that we weren't going to vote for you, you wouldn't be working so hard to secure our right to vote. Give me a yes if you follow what I'm saying. Do you understand what I'm talking about? And so one of the reasons that I believe in holding some of these weird, Negro intermediaries, the Roland Martin types, accountable is because you're doing more harm than good. It sounds nice. And I guess in a society where we value whiteness that much, it does seem cool that you're friends with Joe Biden or whatever it is. But in a world where you're talking about true independence and truly building something that we can actually lean on, that's actually going to move the needle in terms of economic and educational and family progress, you've got to have your own agenda and you've got to be able to create it and develop it and fund it and secure it. You have to stop supporting things that are against the black agenda, like, for example, supporting the consistent brain and talent drain of the black community. You have to challenge false ideas. Like somehow, if I'm black and I'm in a black community or I'm around black people or I'm working at a black institution or whatever it is, that somehow I got to get away from them. My goal is to get away from that so that I can sit up next to some white folks somewhere. I'm not saying that you're a sellout if you're working for white people. Most of us, I was at Syracuse University for a while. It's fine. I mean, I couldn't get a job at an HBCU, so I created the Black Business School. I said, if I can't get into an HBCU, I'll just create one. And we did. And we've actually helped 10 million black people invest in the stock market for the first time. So we're getting the job done. We created the first ever black financial therapy department by working with the best and most talented black financial experts, best and most talented black therapist experts. And the reason that we have made more progress in the psychological barriers of black wealth than almost any institution in America is because that is our focus. We're 100% focused on black people. We're 100% focused on black wealth. We're not saying that black wealth is agenda item number 12 after we do the other 11 things that matter the most. We're not doing that. Blackness and black progress, or progress for your family, your community, whatever matters to you, it cannot be a byproduct. It cannot be something you do on the weekends. You can't be a weekend warrior. It cannot be something you do with your spare change. It can't be something you do when you have extra time. It has to be a top structured priority in your life, whatever that means to you. Whatever that means, start with your own damn family. If raising intelligent, healthy kids is a top priority for you, then find some way to do it without outsourcing every damn thing. You can't outsource anything in this country if you're black, because everybody will come along and taint it. And next thing you know, your kids will come home speaking a language that you don't even understand. Well, why? Well, because from the time they were born, you were trained to outsource their education to somebody else. Smartest black people I know are the ones who are homeschooling their kids. I'm not saying everybody has to do it. I get it. I know it's hard. You got to go to work. Sometimes you ain't got the time. Maybe you don't have what you need. I understand completely. I promise you I get it. So I'm not dogging you at all. I want to make sure that's clear. But those of you that have found a way to get it done, like my buddy, I have a buddy, Curtis Conway. He's married to Layla Ali. Layla Ali is Muhammad Ali's daughter. And Curtis, I love this brother, not just because we have a lot in common, but also he told me how he restructured his whole career so that he can homeschool his kids. He said, ain't nobody going in the brains of my children but me. I said, that's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about. A black man, you saw the territory and you claimed it. That makes me so proud of you. And your kids are going to have the impact that is exceed. Your 3 kids are going to have more impact than 50 mediocre Negroes any day of the week. Because it's not just about how powerful your weapon is. It's whether or not you know how to aim at the right target. You must aim at the right target. So we have a lot of very intelligent, highly educated Negroes, credentials, power, wealth, everything else. They don't even know how to aim their power in the right direction. I'll give you an example. I've seen rappers literally get a check for $10 million and spend $8 million buying things from white people. So you go make an album about how you made $10 million, and that makes you the man because you made money. But then you spent your money like a damn sucker. There's nothing you can show that shows me that you hit the target. There's nothing you can show me from a structural level that you did that was specifically in your own space that is going to improve the condition of the people in your own community. You can't tell me where Jay-Z went. You can show me where Jay-Z spent $100 million, but you can't show me where Jay-Z did $100 million worth of economic infrastructure in the Marcy projects. You can't show me that. I don't see that anywhere. I'm not saying he can't do it. I'm not saying he's not a good guy. I'm not saying he's not doing good things. I'm saying that unfortunately we're trained to sort of see our commitment to the black community is kind of this extra thing that we do. Even I did that. When I was at Syracuse, I was like, well, I'm going to teach white and Jewish kids every single day in class. That's what I'm going to do with my main job. But then I'm going to go and mentor black boys on the weekends. That's going to be my part-time job. Or I'll mentor a couple of black students a year at Syracuse. That was a part-time. That was when teaching black and Jewish and Asian kids was my main thing. And teaching and working with black people was my part-time thing. And I said, something isn't right about this. So now I flipped it. Now teaching black people, talking to black people, connecting with black people, sharing with black people. That's my main thing. That's my main job. That's the structured part of my life. That's what I've dedicated my whole life to. When I got married, I said, you know what? I could get married to a white woman and have a black side chick, or I could marry a black woman and have no side chick. So that's what I did. I married a black woman. I poured into a black woman, and that's what I've dedicated my life to. So you can't tell me that if you didn't do that. I'm not saying that everybody has to do the same thing, but it's kind of hard. It would be kind of hard for me to say, yeah, I really support the hell out of black women, and I want y'all to meet my wife, Becky. My wife, Becky, you know, she's down. She's very pro-black, even though she's white. She's very pro-black. Well, black women are going to be sitting there saying, well, if you're really down for us, like when it came time for you to really step up and make your biggest investment of your life, you passed us right over. You know, let me just tell y'all this. Hit the thumbs up button. Thumbs up, share, subscribe. I'm going to tell y'all a story. I'm going to tell y'all a Kanye West story in a minute. Let me turn this heater down for a second. Hit the thumbs up button, share, subscribe, all that. One of the most awkward conversations I had with Kanye when he called me was I had to tell him the truth. I told him the truth. I said, look, I don't judge you for what you're doing with Jews. I don't judge you for your life choices or anything like that. I said, but I have to be honest with you. I don't care about Jewish people that much. I don't think about them. I don't care about fashion shows in Paris. I think that stuff is kind of stupid. And I never would have married a Kardashian. I married a black woman just so I could avoid Kardashian problems. I didn't want to have the problems you're having, right? That's why I married a black woman. I said, the one thing I care about is the black community. That's it. That's what I care about. So that's why we're on the phone. That's where we vibe. That's where we can connect. That's what I understand. All the other stuff is a waste. It's like a waste of time. It's a waste of energy. It doesn't make sense to me. It does not compute to me, because I think that as a black man, I am my most impactful when I am focusing all of my energy into one small space. And where I focus my energy is on my family and on my community. And that's it. And that's the thing. So a mediocre person who is focused can have 10 times more impact than an extraordinary person who is unfocused. That's a law. That's a law of physics. That's just a law of physics. In physics, a focused laser can cut through a wall. An unfocused laser can barely keep the room warm. So ultimately, are you a focused laser? That's the question. Who are you working for? Let's circle it back. Let's circle back. We were talking originally about the Roland Martins of the world and all that stuff. Man, who are you working for? We know you got black people all around you. We know you got black people on your show. We know, and it's great because they get access to your platform and all that. We know we got black people that like what you do. That's cool. But who are you really serving? Who are you working for? And are you really ready to represent the interests of black people, even if it pisses off the white people who take care of you from the Democratic Party when they show up and they say, hey, we have money in our advertising budget. We're going to write you a check for $200,000 or whatever it is. Are you able to look past that and say, well, you know what? I need these things for black people. I think that there are clear issues in the black community that don't get addressed by some of the Negro intermediaries. I think the issues like reparations are right there at the top of the list. I think that there are some serious, legitimate questions that people have asked about, why Democrat-run cities have just literally fallen apart. I think those questions should be answered. I think that there are questions that people ask about why independent Black-owned schools can't get funding because they won't sign up for whatever agenda liberals have or whatever, right? I really think that these questions need to be asked. And I think at the end of the day, the question is, are you serving Black people or are you selling Black people? And so really, what I really think overall, and this is where I'm going to conclude, but this is the reason I told that story of the Devil's Punch Bowl, is to say that sometimes in this country, if you're trained in the right way from birth, the right way meaning actually if you're trained in a specific way from birth, you can get to the point where up becomes down and down becomes up. Many of us as Black people, in my view, we are raised almost like the way they raise a geisha girl in Japan. The geisha girls are kind of like high-class prostitutes. The way they raise a geisha girl is they train her from the very beginning of her life to believe that her job is to do whatever's necessary to make men happy. That's it. No different from the lady on Coming to America, where he said, bark like a dog. She said, ruff, ruff. He said, a big dog. She said, woof, woof, hop on one leg. And it's like, arf, 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 arf. She's hopping on one leg or woof, 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 whatever, right? I think that's kind of what happens with us. That is how we are trained. We're trained to serve other people. Where's the evidence of that, Boyce? Well, let me give you some evidence. Number one, when it comes to consumerism, Black people are trained to be the biggest consumers in America. We're trained to buy products, not produce or sell anything. Where's another area? We consume more entertainment than any other group of people. Entertainment weakens your brain. It weakens your prefrontal cortex, but we consume more entertainment than other people. Entertainment literally does hypnotize you. What else? We're trained to work for other people, not start our own businesses. That's not really the conversation in most of the families. The conversation is, how do you get a job? What are some other areas? Many of us, in fact, let me ask you all this question. And I made this point before on this platform. I'll make it again real quick. How many of you have student loan debt? How many of you have either have it or had to pay a lot of student loan debt? Give me a yes or no. If you had to pay a lot of student loan debt, give me a yes. Or if you're paying it now or dreading over it now or dealing with it now or whatever, right? Well, this is because since you were a kid, you were trained to believe that the way to succeed is to go to school, make good grades, and then go to a big white-owned university. So while you're in public school, you're making money for white folks because you're sending your kids to these schools. They're getting big checks to write textbooks and serve lunches and shit like that. And then you're trained to go to a big white university that's going to put you $100,000 in debt, take all of your family wealth, suck it all out. And if you're an athlete, you're trained to go to these white schools to go and give your billion-dollar athletic ability to these schools, right? So all this is a net win for white folks. You think it's a win for you because you think you're getting an upgrade, because you were falsely led to believe that the more you follow along in this track, the more you have a chance to elevate in society. But you're not really elevating. You're kind of supporting the elevation of others, right? You're not elevating from an infrastructural standpoint. You're elevating from a a symbolic standpoint, right? It's like when somebody puts a Nike swoosh on their shoes or on their clothes, they feel like they're wearing nicer clothes when really you're not wearing nicer clothes. You're just wearing clothes that have a symbol on them that generates some sort of respect, right? You got a Nike swoosh on your shirt, so you feel like you're a better person now because you got the Nike swoosh. When somebody put all that in your head, they had to brand Nike and make you believe that a Nike swoosh is valuable and important, right? So then after you go deep in debt, after you're $100,000 in debt, half of all Black college graduates cannot repay their student loans. So half of y'all that went to college and thought you were elevating your family are going to actually harm or reduce your family's net worth because you're going to die in debt. I'm not making fun of you. I'm not dogging you. This is a common problem. This happens everywhere. So process this. How in the hell do you think Black wealth can ever go up when half of your talented Negroes can't even pay back their student loans? I mean, does non-payment of does defaulting on your student loans help your credit score or make it worse? What do y'all think? You think that when I default on my loans, you think that's going to put me in a better position to invest in real estate? You think if I default on my loans, that's going to help me start that business? You think if I default on my loans, that's going to help me buy more stock and play the rich man's game? What do you think? Or am I going to do powernomics or strugglenomics? See, now I'm putting on my finance professor hat here because I need y'all to understand modern slavery is not the slavery from 200 years ago. It's not, Kunta Kinte plantation type stuff. Modern slavery is when one type of modern slavery is when you are in such dire financial straits that I keep you hustling backward, that I keep you off balance. I keep you scared and concerned and doing what I need you to do because you're afraid of what's going to happen if you do not serve me, which really goes back into politics. You vote for the Democrats or whatever party you vote for because you're so scared of what's going to happen if the other party gets elected. Fear is a powerful tool to control the masses. So they scare you. It's like, oh my God, I got to go to this job every day. I hate it. I don't want to do it. They're racist and they're mean, but I do it every day because I've got too many student loans and I can't repay them. And what am I going to do? And I'm having cold sweats at night because I don't know how to pay the bills, blah, blah, blah. That's a common problem. If you're in that category, please understand, I'm not making fun of you. I'm just saying join the crowd because a lot of people feel this way. So when my wife and I created the Black Financial Therapy Department in the Black Business School, we did this largely because there's so many of us dealing with financial anxiety. Just this fear that you're not going to be able to keep paying the bills consistently, or that something's going to go wrong and it's going to derail your savings or whatever. Now, here's the thing, though. Understand, you're in the mousetrap because somebody led you down that trap. Somebody gave you a blueprint for Black enslavement. It's like a roach motel. To get the roaches to go into the roach motel, you got to lure them in. You got to put some food in the box or whatever. To get the mouse, you got to put out the cheese. So they put out that cheese, and that little reward at the end of the rainbow was, if I work hard and I go to school and I do what I'm supposed to do, I could be next to godliness. I could be next to white people, and they're gonna like me, and they're gonna give me Grammy awards and Oscars and Employee of the Year awards, and I'm gonna have a big office in the corner and a house in the suburbs, and I get to tell my mama, look, mama, I made it. Where'd you make it to? Did you? Well, look at how far I came. Look at how I grew up in the bricks, man. Look at how far I done came. Well, how far did you go? Because your mama lives 5 miles away. Like, wait, how far did you went far? What does that mean? I hear it all the time. I hear people say, well, I started from the bottom. Now we're here. What does that mean? What is the bottom? Oh, you were surrounded by Black people who loved you. They just didn't have, they had a ton of wealth, but you couldn't see it because you were focused on the money. But you didn't understand that you were surrounded by $1 billion in love and $1 billion in support and $1 billion in potential. But you thought you were poor because you didn't have any cash. But when white folks come along and they've got all the cash in the world, they can print money. They literally can print. How many of y'all in here? Give me a yes or no. How many of y'all can print your own money? Anybody in here can print money? Give me a yes if you can print money. Anybody can print money in here? Well, there are powerful white people that can actually go to the printing press and print money. So they're always going to be able to outbid you. They're always going to be able to print enough money to get Deion Sanders to leave Jackson State to go to Colorado. They're always going to be able to print enough money to get you to leave your hood and go to the suburbs. They're always going to be able to print enough money to get you to walk away from the people that love you so you can be around people who don't love you, right? So if money is the competition, then you're going to lose every damn time. So if you don't understand this important fact, you will always lose. You must understand that most wealth does not show up in the form of money. So when you say, I came a long way, I'm really thinking, what does that mean? When I think about coming a long way, I think about things like spiritual journeys. I used to be a terrible person. Now I'm a good person. Or maybe intellectual journeys. I used to enjoy being ignorant, and I used to do stupid stuff. Now I am more enlightened, more intelligent. Now I do intelligent stuff. When I think about coming a long way, I'm thinking like, maybe you picked up new skills, or you found ways to have greater impacts in the spaces that matter to you. Right. That's what I think about when I think about a long way. But when you just define it by like, I used to be in the projects and now I'm a senior executive at Walmart. I don't care about that. That's not necessarily you coming a long way, especially if you're running around and you are scared to death of what's going to happen if they take that financial cushion away from you. So if you really want to solve some of these problems, you got to go back to the root. The biggest way to solve financial anxiety in the Black community and financial insecurity is to make Black people, intelligent Black people, the most financially literate, most economically intelligent group of people on the planet. That means that when you're sitting there and you're sweating because white people on your job hate you and you're looking for a way out, you have 1,000 different tools in your Swiss Army knife of ideas that you can utilize to go out here and make some money without having to go beg for a job. How about that for an antidote to financial anxiety? What do you think about that? Or how about this? If I don't want my kids to be sold into slavery, then I start investing for them when they're children so that by the time they're 25 years old, they have $250,000 in the bank that they can lean on in the event that they want to tell their boss to kiss their Black ass. But in order to do that, I have to use the most valuable asset in my arsenal, which is time. Your newborn baby is sitting there looking at you like, Daddy, what we doing? And you've got 25 years to get them ready for economic war. Are you just going to sit there and let all that time go to waste and then throw them out there and hope for the best? Or are you going to start preparing your battle plan? That's what you must do. You have to prepare your children for this space that we live in. Capitalism is king of slavery. Capitalism is built on the enslavement of other human beings using tools like debt and economic insecurity as a pathway to get you to submit to whatever the hell they want you to do. So in this country, if you can't understand that, then you always going to be hustling backwards, running on your heels, feeling like you on a treadmill, stressed out, confused, lost, a day late and $1 short. And unfortunately, that's what I see when I look around the community. I do not see a lot of fortification, preparation, and positioning that allows us to adequately compete against those who are seeking to control every single thing that we do. That is one of the reasons why the Negro operatives don't call me anymore, because they know I can see right through the nonsense. I'm not impressed by what important white people you have next to you. I'm really more impressed when you've learned how to be truly independent and strong and not having to apologize just because you farted the wrong way. I'm tired of all these apologizing Black men, but I know exactly why they apologize. It's because they did a checkmate on your ass. They got you in a corner where if you don't apologize, the consequences will be devastating. You got to play eighth dimensional chess in this space. And if you can't do that, then you're going to lose every time. That's why I like talking to people that want to be intelligent. If you want to be ignorant, then everything I say is going to go over your head and not make any sense. And it's probably going to piss you off. And that's okay, because I'm not really talking to you. I'm talking to those who want to do something different. That's all I got to say. I'm done. I hope you guys have a great night. Thank you all for listening and hanging out with me. I appreciate it. if you could, please hit the thumbs up button, share, subscribe. If you'd like to learn more about some of the work that my wife and I are doing in the Black Financial Therapy Department, all that's on my website at boycewatkins.com. We have lots of great stuff going on in the Black Business School all the time. And also, we do have a Black Business School for children. We just actually created a whole crypto certification for kids. So feel free to go to blackmillionairesoftomorrow.com. So they have certifications on stock market investing, real estate investing, cryptocurrency, etc. So feel free to go to blackmillionairesoftomorrow.com if you'd like to take a look at that. All right, guys, thank you for listening. I will check in with you later. I'm going to go say hi to my mama, and I love you. See you soon. Peace.
Here we are, clan the isms, cataclysm great. Our people out here struggling, trying to make it in this state. Everybody out here doing it, but we the ones too late. Now family, we the ones who gotta delegate. Get that money in the power, never be fake. Stick to cosign for 3. What did he say? Create jobs, support our own. Educate the same and buy back your home. Got 3 degrees, triple 10. 3 PhDs, now we on the CNN. DBTV, let's talk about negligence. Ignorance is bliss, but we can turn it to intelligence. Believe none of what you hear, half of what you see. Let's break it down here on Dr. Boyce TV. Here we are.